All right. Well, hello out there, and welcome to another episode of Raise the Bar. I'm your host, Troy Haynes, and we are waiting for our guest to show up in the green room. We're going to have with us tonight Keinan Briggs from Leap Squad. I don't know. I got an email from him. It's become an LLC, and I think the name keeps changing, so I think it's Leap Squad. But Keinan is a young businessman here in Southern California who trains long jumpers, triple jumpers, and high jumpers, Leap Squad. He works at Modern Day High School out of that area. And I think we've been, working in the same area here for about 5, 6, 7 years now. Could be getting longer. I don't know. I keep forgetting. But yeah, we'll be checking in with Keinan to see what is the latest with Leap Squad. There's a big meet coming up. Leap Leap Fest. I think it's Leap Fest. Um, it's usually in January. So one of the first outdoor meets of the season. I don't know if it's expanded to include all events, but I do know that the jumps are featured. So long trip on high for sure. And that'll be coming up in January. But before we jump into the podcast, I'd just like to talk a little bit about one of my favorite subjects, which is staying in shape as you get older. If you've been on the pod before, you may have heard a podcast that I did with Brad Kearns. Now, Brad Kearns is a former #3 in the world ranked Ironman triathlete. And this guy really pushed the envelope. He won over 30 events worldwide, and he was in fantastic shape. And I don't want to use the word was because he's still in fantastic shape. And he's getting up there. You're younger than me. I'm already in my 60s. To stay in shape as you get older, it gets tougher. Go to bradnutrition.com. You will find some great products to help you. One of those is his whey protein isolate powder. You don't have to be a master's athlete to use that. It's a great source of protein. It is made from 100% Wisconsin dairy cows. It's top quality and very easily digested protein. You can try that. I use the vanilla and put it in my shakes and smoothies. You can mix it in with fruit, and it's, again, tastes good. You can also try out his energy drinks if you go to bradnutrition.com. If you want to purchase anything, you can use my promo code Sky High and Fly 10. It's SKYHIANDFLY 10, all small letters. And if you use that promo code, you'll get 10% off at bradnutrition.com. If you'd like to use Amazon, use a similar code. It's SKYHIFLY 10, all caps. You go to Amazon.com and use that one, you'll get the same 10% off. Use those promo codes and get a little break on those products. They're great. Try them out. Let's get on with the pod. Got some new things coming up. We're going to be dropping some content on you, some high jump expose, let's call it. Had his book rankling around in my head for a while. I'm going to call it the 645s in the high jump. What does that mean? There are 6 45-degree angles that I've noticed in coaching this event over the years that I've come to rely on and use to teach that I think are highly valuable. And so we're going to present a video series with each one of those emphasized and taught with drills. And we're going to see how that looks from when you're looking at the elites, and then you can, use it on yourself. And I start a video training series on how to examine your own videos. And that is, it's probably putting myself out of business. But so one of the things that we do offer here at Raise the Bar is, at Sky High Fly Jump Lab is video analysis for our clients. And, lots of people either, aren't trained, don't have the right kind of eye, even slowing things down on video for some, they don't really know what they're looking at, which is why I have a job. But I've gotten to that place where I would like to have the athletes be able to look at their own videos and analyze it themselves. So saves me extra work. So I'm going to try to teach that to you guys so that that's something you can rely upon, how to look at your own videos and see, some simple things that need to be fixed, and then how to fix them. Um, I think. What else? Anything else coming up? We got some local meets starting up now. The early outdoor season is underway. So if you are interested, you can always go to one of those sites online that has, um, you know, all the meets. You look up, just track meets in Southern California. You get finishedresults.com, one of those types, and you come up pretty inclusive list. Doesn't get everything. Some places have their own sites that they use. But yeah, finished results is a pretty good one. And but I know there's a series. All of these events like to jump on the bandwagon of being a qualifier for the winter championships at Arcadia. So some are and some are not. But I think you have to pay, some kind of a fee to get into that loop. But I know they have those meets at Los Alamitos High School. There's a couple coming at least one, I think, at Redondo. There's been some already at Long Beach Poly. So, if you're in the Southland and you're looking for a place to compete, those are places you can try. And those meets are always on a Saturday, always for starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then, as far as depends on the facility, they may have side by side long jump pits, in which case it won't take too long. If they have only one pit, could take you a better part of a day to get through there, between long jump, two long jumps and two triple jumps, men and women. High jump, same thing. They got one pit. It's going to take a while. They have two pits, speed it up a little bit. So, depends on, what you're looking for. And, competition is generally pretty good, but it is early, and a lot of the athletes are missing because they're in other sports. Football is still going on, but for the most part, most of the football players that are good track athletes are probably done by now, but they're also kind of beat up, so they might not be jumping right into competing. Basketball is in full swing, and I'm seeing Keenan's
There we
name.
go.
I see him. There's the man.
The volume.
The
I can't
official
hear
mic.
you. Let me see if I can change.
Make sure I'm on audio. This says I'm on. Hello. Yeah.
Oh, it's on my end. Okay, try now.
Hello.
There we go. I can hear you now.
All right.
I have my sound coming through my microphone.
Dude, that is an official looking microphone, if nothing else, for the
Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm trying to get the best crispy sound as possible.
yeah. Do you have one that you're doing on your own?
Just all my recording, things like that. And I
Mhm.
record a lot of courses and things like that. So I put a lot of I just want to make it look more official, have good sound. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, hey, Keenan Briggs, welcome to another episode of Raise the Bar. It's been a couple years, I think, since we've done one.
Yeah. Well, like
How have you been?
four, like that. I've
Yeah,
been great. Been great. Just organizing, just putting everything together. Like it's always like something new is adding on, it's just compounding,
right.
and it's been
Right.
good.
Well, yeah, you've shared with us before. I remember 2 or 3 years back, or 4 years back, you're saying now the vision for Leap Squad, and I noticed yesterday when we finally touched base again that you were an LLC, so I don't remember that from before. And then is you're now Leap Squad Track Club, and then you have the business name I know on top of that, and then tell everybody about what's coming up because I know there's a big event with your name all over it. What's coming up in January as usual?
January 3rd, Leap Fest. It's
Yeah,
held at Mater Day. It's a jumps only national showcase. Pole vault, high jump, long and triple, and it's all ages. And yeah, the overall goal of the meet isn't about like marks. It's all about just networking, meeting people. And if you're a youth athlete, you're able to see all levels of the competition from pro all the way down to youth. And
Yeah.
just college coaches are able to see, the talent that's out there. And then when you do hit those marks and you hit your in-season stride, will already have those connections with you. So it's kind of
Awesome.
building the base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a nice gig. We got are you part of the are the marks official for like Arcadia for the Winter Championships? Do those qualify?
They're still not accepted. I don't understand what's going on. I do have the meet ran by USATF. It's a sanctioned meet. I have officials that I have come out, but no, the marks do not qualify for the Winter Championships. However, they do qualify for New Balance, Nike, and Arcadia for in season.
Okay. Yeah, well, those are probably bigger to
Yeah, yeah,
be.
yeah.
Yeah. So the Winter Champs is nice. I remember last year, it seems like it's growing. The high jump had like 50 or 60 kids there because the qualifier was only, 5'10". But there was
Mhm.
a lot of kids there. It started early and it took a while to get through. So yeah, that's I think they just probably want money from you, right? Pay some kind of a fee, right, to be considered, what is it, a winter qualifier, whatever. So, well,
Yeah.
um, so do tell everybody too. I know you guys you've been working out of Mater Dei. Is that when I first met you, we were coaching at opposite schools in there. I was coaching Santa Margarita. You were at Mater Dei at the time, right?
Mhm.
And then how did that all go? Because it seems like you're there, but you're not necessarily there. Are you a coach at Mater Dei, or are you just using the facility, or how does that all work?
Yeah, I just rent out the facility. It's just our home for our club team. This has been since 2019, and
Right.
just moved into that sector where I'm able to have a lot more freedom. As a high school coach, like this, like you guys dedicate so much of your time and resources. Um, and for me, I don't have other jobs. This is my profession. And
Right.
so I said to myself, in order to make this, a living, I get to show my value and put a price on it. And so instead of, working 9 to 5 of whatever, space and then coaching on the back end, I said I'd rather make what I truly enjoy and what I'm passionate about, make that my primary. So now I created multiple divisions of my job, so to speak. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, see, you're living my dream life, of course. I'm always living vicariously through you because I'm
Mhm.
still teaching. I've been at Garden Grove High School for 30 years this year. And
Mm.
I think we're coming to an end. And for the last few years, since I started up my business, I've been feeling that same kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
I have enjoyed teaching and I've learned a lot of things and that have I think have probably helped my coaching. But at the same time, it's not my passion. My
Mm.
passion is, like you, the season goes long, the meets get bigger, and
Yep.
the stakes get higher and the competition gets more fierce. And it's like that's where you just love, being. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I feel that pull. I think that's awesome that you're able to do that. So you're not part of the Mater Dei staff, or do you work with the Mater Dei kids? Because you're on there. Where do they go to practice then? I mean, you guys have the facility, so do they also work through you, or how does that go?
No, they have their coaches. Coach Art Hinojosa's there with the jumpers, and
Mhm.
every now and then there's a couple kids that will be a part of the club team, either whether it's the off season or whatever. But for the most part, they do a good job there, and they have all the coaches in every event, so they're pretty much covered. So when
Right.
I'm just there, I'm there after hours, so we're there in the evenings.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no real overlap at all.
No fighting over facilities or anything like that, or yeah. So that makes more sense.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit now. The last time we talked, you were telling me about not just the local growing of the business, but also a global kind of a vision for
Mhm.
spreading out. And so let us know how that's going, Keenan. Where are you in that as you
Yeah. I have almost 20 athletes. I think I have 17 right now on the virtual team. Athletes from Pennsylvania, athletes from Virginia, athletes from Northern California, Central California, Texas, Cyprus. Cyprus, when I think of Cyprus, I think of Cyprus, the city near us,
Right.
but Cyprus, the
Over
country
by
that is
Greece, right? Yeah.
correct. Yeah. It's just, where I put myself, I've just put so much time and effort into studying and mastering my craft and sharpening it. And I'm able to see things that most coaches can't see. It's just an eye as you develop.
Mhm.
And I just put together this package. So back in 2021 is where I like officially launched it. Essentially, I already had been doing it with kids from Canada and things like that since 2016, but it
Mhm.
was more of like a service that I was doing to help athletes. And then when I packaged it, it then became a whole business.
Right.
So, I have athletes that are doing really well. So for example, Milena was on a virtual team. She went from 38 feet in triple jump to 41.3, finished second in the US in triple jump. She also cleared 5.7 3/4 in high jump.
Mhm.
That put her also second for the 15-16 group. She's now signed to Kentucky. Um, who else? The athlete Christina in Cyprus. She was able to make the U20 team. She finished third overall and made that national team that went to Greece again in their meeting. And it's just I can go on and on, but it's very fun. It's fun being a part of athletes' success. Like that's essentially like my selfish, piece is being a part of their success, helping them, hone in on their skills. A lot of these athletes already have great talent. It's just managing them and putting those talents in certain places,
Right.
because there's athletes that have amazing talent but don't put the work in.
Right.
And most coaches would say, well, I mean, that is what it is. But when you have the time, when they're invested financially or through time, now it's I have to continue being on you to make sure that you shift the way you think from where
Right.
you were to where you want to be. And once they have that kind of set up, then everything's possible.
Yeah.
So last year athletes went all over the place. And it's been great. It's been great.
So when you're talking about virtual now, this I have some experience with this because I had a young jumper that was all the way in India, and we were doing that same thing that you're talking about, the virtual, and it was kind of crazy. But and everything that I do is completely archaic and thought up with my
Mm,
60-year-old deteriorating brain, like how to use all this stuff, right? So I'm like, well, let's video you. So she was trying iPhone and 13 time zones across, sometimes not so
mhm,
good. And it turned out that Instagram FaceTime surprisingly worked pretty well. So
mhm.
like it was literally halfway around the world, and I was able to watch her, and I would have to, have it on the screen and then video it with another device, and then
Oh,
break down, and then so, I don't know how you do it, but I've had a little bit of experience in that area, and I'm sure there's been some, things that you've learned along the way where you start, like you're saying, you're learning your craft. Coaching isn't
mm,
as much of learning the craft as learning how to use all the electrical stuff, right? To cross time zones and all that.
yeah.
So do you, when you work with them virtually, you lay out their whole program and then get as many virtual sessions in as you can? Like how does that work out for you time wise? I know it's difficult because you got to be sitting in front of something like this, right?
Yeah. I put the whole process together. So, the only times I'm actually with them is just more once a week. And it's more of just a call that kind of supports them, whether it's mentally, through confidence, through expectation. A lot of track and field isn't the training piece. It's about what you're stepping into. What type of meet are you going into? Are you competing against professionals? Are you competing against the state's best? Like what type of meet are you going into? And then your performance to be based off of your conditioning and what you've done in the off season. So my program is a 12-month program. And in that 12-month program, there's step-by-step cycles that they follow. And everything that I have is all digital. So if I give them specific workouts for that first cycle, Everything is shown through video. Everything is described. So all they have to do is just wake up, do the workout, and then record their videos. So I'm able to evaluate and try to check in to see where they're at. And then once that base work is done, the rest of it now comes into preparing them mentally because the physical part is all done.
Right. Okay. So more of a you watch, let them do their video work on their own, and then look at it and critique and get it back to them because it's
Yeah, so
hard
like
to do live, right?
so the times I do live is only when they're in competition, right? Because they need that feedback. So the parents or whoever's recording them or coaches will send me the video each jump, and then I'll give feedback and coach them through whoever is holding that phone,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the
And
um
yeah.
the piece that makes it the easiest is I've built this systematic process to where they follow the workouts and then the results are very consistent.
Mhm.
To where I have athletes that have gained 4 feet, 5 feet in one year. Ethan gained six. In triple jump, last year I had three athletes go from 21 to 23,
Right.
and in long jump. And it's once they follow that specific program, what happens is the physical body adapts to the training that happened. And so a lot of times we as coaches will have workouts that we've seen and then apply those. The workout that I've created was something that I actually put together. I physically did, and that helped me become ranked in the US, ranked in the world. And then I started to downgrade it so that the teenage body can benefit from it. And I
Right.
kept downgrading it to where I can have my brother, a 27-foot long jumper, and also have a college athlete, then also have a high schooler and have a 6-year-old all have the exact same type of improvements, throughout their career. Um, and that part is where it's easy now. It's just they have a specific workout. All I'm doing is fine tuning, making
Right.
sure that they're mentally in the right place. And then after that, we just figure out conversations with colleges.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, that's something that's interesting. You opened up, Pandora's box there because now with NIL, right, huge changing landscape in college. I know
Yeah.
in the sport that we picked, unfortunately, there's not as much, money filtering down from the top, right? So you've got track and field
Mhm.
programs that, you and I both, going back, I remember being at UCLA and there were what for a 60 man, 70 man track team was like 12. It was either 8 or 12 scholarships when I was there in the early 80s. And so,
Mhm.
how are you gonna man a 70 man track team with 12 scholarships, right? Football has 105.
Yep.
Basketball has what,
Mhm.
however many people on the team. I don't know if it's 10 or 15. I mean, you got plenty for your starters. And now they can get paid above board, and you and I both know they probably were getting paid before,
Yep.
below board. Now it's just kind of like, okay, everybody's
Yeah.
getting paid, so let's just get it all out in the open. But how does that working with you, having these athletes go off to college, and I for instance had a kid just last year who was a 6'8" high jumper who ended up going, to a school out here on the west and getting $1,000 a month to and a full ride basically plus 1,000. And I remember thinking, man, I jumped higher than that, and walked on at
Mhm.
UCLA. I didn't get a nickel. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on
Yeah.
with this? So how's that been for you? Because these last couple of years have been kind of the wild, wild west.
It's simple because it's all a business, you know. Because of, like I said before, because that program is pretty much already set up, I have more free time to do other things,
Mhm.
and the other things are helping athletes build their brand. Like I have my network. I've been coaching. This is year 21 now, and so like I've had athletes that have competed at the college level that have gone through the college process and then those doors have opened up. So each time, the athletes go somewhere or even the coaches that are coaching now were either around when I was doing my specific stuff on YouTube, on videos. So the landscape now it's easier being in that entrepreneurship space because I've been diving into entrepreneurship since 2012. And what I've learned from there, I'm realizing that the college recruiting process is the exact same. Coaches are looking for a product. The
Right.
product is a service. And they're saying, I would like, Coach Troy, I would love for you to be a high jumper here because you offer a service. And your service is 7'2", 7'2" in high jump. Great. So now your actual value scores high in our conference. And so it's teaching the athletes how to have conversations about their business
Right.
because a coach may call and say, "Hey, we want you on our team." Well, it's the coach's job to get that athlete on the team for the lowest price possible. So all we have is books. In reality, they have more money, but they're saying the value you bring doesn't yield a certain dollar amount. And
Right.
so what I do is I teach the athletes how to build their business of being an athlete. And so in that curriculum, they are able to understand and then they have conversations. So now you have athletes that are aware of what they want from a college versus, oh my gosh, X university called me. I want to go there. Versus X university called me. There's 10 things that I need from the experience of track and field. I'm looking for great coaching. I'm looking for great education. I'm looking for trustworthy. I'm looking for reliability. A coach that's going to be there for my career while I'm there. Like these are questions that most athletes don't ask. And so athletes in my program ask those questions because they're knowledgeable and they're taught and they're trained in that specific field. So my whole academy is covering all those bases: brand building, confidence, mentality, the way that you eat, like all those areas are all put together so that it's a full program. And so when athletes show up to schools, they're not just there on the roster, they're actually there doing work and they're actually there to improve.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, that's a big battle too, because so many things happen those first couple of years, right?
Mhm,
Everybody's got it. Transitioning from high school to college can be difficult, but the ones that are more elite, that may or may not happen. I know it's not, 100% foolproof because some guys have just struggled that first year. You get that
mhm,
freshman 15 pounds, right? You put on
mhm.
weight, you're not, you grow into your man body, right? Those
Yep.
kinds of things happen. So that can cause problems. But what I was particularly interested in was, let's say you've got a kid, he's a 22-foot long jumper, which is, we both know is good. Is he going to get you all the way to state? It's gonna be tough, right? You get through CI prelims, you get CI finals. You're one of those guys, you're like, good, be better to be going 23 or 24, get
Mhm,
out there. But if you're a kid like that, let's say you're a 48-foot triple jumper, you're a 22-foot. We should probably just do Brandon Cheeks. The kid from
mhm.
Diego a couple of years back was, I think all
Yep.
of these, right? Was a long triple and high. So
Yep.
first of all, you have to be able to score now, right? The idea is whichever conference that you're going to, all I keep hearing is, are you going to score at our conference meet? Right. So it's a
Yeah.
lot like football. As you're coming in as a freshman, remember how it used to be in the old days, freshmen were like, oh no, you're going to have to learn and blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. And now they want plug and play freshmen, right?
Yep.
I want somebody who's fast. I want them light. I want to, if it's football or basketball, it's like, you're coming in, we expect you to play, and you
Yeah.
get paid to play at a high level. For track and field, like you're saying, they're going to look ahead and go, well, you jumped 6'10". So at our conference meet last year, 6'10" got fifth place. You know,
Mhm.
for you, it won you state, but for us,
Yeah.
it's only fifth in the conference. So, based on what we know, if you just perform at that level, you're going to make X, right? So,
Mhm.
for how much, I guess I'm kind of hinting around it, but how much is the money is out there for these guys? Is it just scholarship? Can they get, because my thinking is still it's too small in that it's hard to get people to watch. I think they might if it was better packaged. It's hard to get people to watch track and field. It's hard to find it, right? We're battling the mega giants.
Mhm.
Football, right? College and pro, or pro and college in that order. Basketball, huge. Baseball just finished the World Series. Huge numbers, right?
Yep.
Huge money pouring in from the top. So if you've got a track program that's a really good track program, let's say Grand Valley State. I know you know about the high jumpers at Grand Valley State, right?
Yeah.
Four guys
Mhm.
jumping over 7'3",
Yeah.
and three of them went to the trials one year, which is amazing. I still can't
Yeah.
get Steve Jones on here, so if you know him, tell him to get on the podcast. But he's a real quiet worker, but his guys are awesome. So it's
Mhm.
at that program, which is a D2 school, how is there going to be any money flowing in there? Do they have anybody watching track and field at high levels? Do they have a football program that's going to bring in a ton of money and let it filter down through the other sports?
Mhm.
And then again, I just see TV money is huge, and I just don't see the revenue for us in track and field. So how do we get, I guess the bigger question is how do we get money to get bigger for track and field? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah. So a couple layers of the question. So for the athlete specifically, like how do you raise money for yourself, right? Because the
Hmm.
people who are essentially paying you are the school. The school has X amount of dollars to pay just in general,
Right,
right? But if you are a brand, you get paid from your business as a brand. Many times athletes don't build their brand. They just put a mark out that the school says we're going to give you this much money for that.
right,
So if you think about basketball, the NBA pays LeBron James X amount of dollars, right? Or not NBA, the Lakers pay a certain amount of money. But he also gets paid by all of his brand deals.
right,
He gets paid by Nike. He gets paid by whatever other things he does, right? And so these are all things that his brand is bringing. So he's multiplying his value and his money that comes in. Where the
right,
mistake is made for athletes is they say, I'm one faceted. And what I do is I jump. So I want to present this to the school and they're going to say, here's the money we can give you. Right. So, I had an athlete that went to a big name school and then decided to transfer. And then she was presented with an NIL deal. And they offered her, I don't know, $4,000 for the month to post. And she said, no, because I have a brand already established. Long story short, she was making $250,000 a year based off of that same brand
right,
because they were able to pay her that amount. So that covered her everything, which is great, but like if you don't know that landscape, if you don't know, like if you're not used to having those conversations, then you're just an athlete versus
right,
a brand, So that's for the athlete piece of it. When it comes to track and field, specifically, it's like we've already seen like athletes did it. They put on a show, they were able to build excitement, and they were able to highlight areas of track and field. And so when they did that, USATF now said, wait a minute, like we can't have these spinoffs coming in taking our audience.
right,
But the audience is saying, we need something like that. So we would like to have more things going. We would like to have professional track meets, not at J. Sarah High School. We want to have professional track meets at coliseums and other professional tracks, but there aren't any.
right,
Every single track that I've seen was literally just a track that was a university or a college or a high school.
right,
So we're missing that area. So then because we're not investing in the facilities, we're not investing in a farm system for development. If
mhm,
you're in college, you're skipping over U23, you're skipping over the university games because you can't because you're busy with college track.
yeah,
So what NCAA has done is they've done a great job with taking the actual market. They own the market of track and field from 18 and up. And if you ideally don't go pro, then or go to the NCAA, then the problem is you don't have anywhere to train, anywhere to compete,
right,
you know. So there's no process for development unless you already hit those standards and you're training, continue training with your college that you already went to.
yeah,
So it's just like it's so hard. And even if you do have that resource of you are athletic enough and you do have the college that's there that can support you, that coach has to be willing to stay with you throughout the performance, because a coach may be okay, finish the NCAA's, we're all done. Like I need a break because school starts in September.
right,
It's June 3rd, 20th,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden now it's like, coach, but I made the Olympics or I made an overseas challenge or whatever it is.
yeah,
And it's like, can you come with me? Well, they can, but you got to pay for it. Where's the money coming from? And that circles back to having a brand. So it's this circle thing, and all because of all these issues is why there's no audience, right? And the last layer to it is we don't have storytelling within track and field. No one knows who anyone is.
Right.
Like, football, basketball, we're forced every day with, this is what so and so did, and this is a dunk that they made or a catch they made. We don't hear anything about, hey, so and so just cleared, 7-5, and
Yeah.
they jumped off their wrong foot. Like, I'm making that, you know what I mean? Like, there's
Right.
no storytelling. There's nothing that says, hey, this is an athlete you should watch until they've already made it.
Right.
So it's a challenge. So I don't really specifically have an answer other than by like doing events like Leap Fest, like you having a high jumps only showcase, like
Yes.
just starting on the ground level is where it needs to start. So now the local, diner supports that, right? And then that goes to the next thing. It just kind of keeps working itself up to where maybe someone says, "Hey, I want to partner with you," and
Right.
then that goes and it scales. But it's literally a business. It's all business, and it's hard to grow the business when all the eyes are based on the American sports. The American sports is football, volleyball, basketball,
Right.
baseball. Track and field is a world sport. Soccer is a world sport. But soccer has been doing a good job with
Yeah.
what they're doing. But I think we should focus really on starting on the ground level and creating these systems. And that's what I'm doing is I'm creating on the ground level and I'm developing athletes that have this option to be able to say, okay, like how can I build my brand? And once the brand is built and they do succeed at the next level, then they can start investing back into the ground level pieces.
Hmm.
So it's giving now to give back later on in
Yeah.
another lifetime. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
said a lot, but yeah.
yeah, no, I appreciate it too. It's well thought out. The thing that I've been noticing forever is, and I think most people would see it is, the reason that you and I watch track and field is we're heavily invested in it and we love the sport. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to watch, I'm the wrong person to reach, right? The problem with track and
Mhm.
field is not that the people that love it don't try to watch it because they're going to find their way to watch it. We need to get people pulled in that don't know anything about track and field. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of them out there. Every 4 years, we get a huge influx of interest because of the Olympics. So, if you put,
Mhm.
you said what used to be an amateur sport up on the screen, I remember in 76, it's got to be before you were born. I'm watching, Dwight Stones jump in Canada. I'm 12 years old.
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I'm watching the
Yeah.
Olympics. And even then, it was not a blow by blow. There's no drama. There's no this. There's no that. I don't
Mhm.
remember who was announcing it. It was just cool watching somebody jump over stuff. Now we've
Yeah.
got, these unbelievable cameras and camera angles, and we've got this, we got
Yeah.
that. And we could do diagrams if we wanted to. And if you had anybody that knew anything about it, they could teach you about the drama of, for instance, think they're still dumb even at the world level. I'd like to see a system where they literally raise the bar by 3 centimeters at a time, roughly an inch, right? However it works out. And you would have to, after a while, learn the nuances of passing because you don't want to
Mhm.
jump every single height. So, and you
Yep.
and I both know you get kids who go, "What are we jumping today?" And somebody goes, "Oh, we're doing odds or we're doing evens," right? Because
Mhm.
you just started it on one, but they start on one side and they just go 2 inches at a time. So it's 6'4",
Yeah.
6'6", it's 6'8", it's 6'10", roughly, and nobody still knows the metrics because they never actually tell you. But it's like, I don't know why they just think we're dumb or whatever, but I still think in feet and inches because that's the way I think. I've learned them, but they're not like secondhand nature. But
Mhm.
if you were to go like that all the way up through at the Olympics, you could go, oh, Bondarenko in 2016 opened at 225, came in at 7'4.5", opening height. He came in third, and I've never seen anybody
Yeah.
open that high before, and
Yeah.
Druin and Barshim opened at 220, and but there was Bondarenko was the only one who was like, well, he fell behind and then he would just
Mhm.
pass. He was like, I'm not going to jump that height. I'm going to skip another
Yep.
height, and he's like, well, how can he do that? I'm like, well, he jumped 7'11". He has no fear of anything between 7'4" and 7'11", so he's figuring he can make
Yeah.
it. But somebody just watching that doesn't know any of that. They don't
Yeah.
understand. And you go and you got to explain to them, oh, you get three misses in a row. You can pass that jump, you get two more at the next height. Oh, okay. But if you save that jump and you don't waste it, and I actually learned that from listening to Dwight Stones, you go, well, I was 2 inches over and I caught it with my heels. So I'm not going to waste that jump. I'm just going to go to the next height. And if I make
Yep.
it on my first, I'm right back in the lead. Right.
Yep.
But I mean, that's just high jump. That's not,
Yeah. Yeah.
like we said, we have this incredible, sport with these amazing athletes that are just performing at this unbelievable level. But yet when you watch it on TV, it's like, okay, we have the 100. And then, they show everybody's shots and they go, this is the guy from Canada, this is the guy from here. And they tell you their times, and then boom, and it's 10 seconds and then it's over.
Yep.
And then all that
Yep.
time, there's people throwing discs, there's people pole vaulting, there's long
Yep.
jumpers going on and on. And do you ever see it? No. And then they come back later and they do a rush job or they go, oh, here's the winning jump, right?
Yep.
Here's your one great long jump or whatever. So,
Yeah.
we got to revamp the way it's
Yeah.
somehow.
What they did the last Olympics, the last few years, Peacock has done great coverage with field events.
Hmm.
Like I was able to literally coach my brother at the Olympic trials because they had the perfect angle on the runway for me to be able
Nice.
to support him from San Diego when he was in Oregon. And then when he qualified, I caught a flight that same night to Oregon to be there for him in the finals.
Right.
So they've done a good job. And I think they have two different versions. They have one that is specifically the field event, and they have commentators and everything. It's a
Right.
full event happening, and you see every jump. Um, then
I
obviously
did
they
see
have,
that in
like you
high jump.
said,
I taped that one. Yeah.
yeah. Then they have the rundown version of, this so and so cleared 7-8 on the first attempt, they miss, and then they had a bad day, they're out. But the winner is this person. And it's like
Right.
you miss the whole story of
Yeah.
what happened. Like sometimes, like I'm like you, I'll go see, let me see the box score. Let me see actually, oh, okay, they missed on this height. And they
Right.
came back and then they had four misses and they kept missing every single time, or they missed two jumps every single height for all like six heights and then
Yeah.
went clean the next two. Like you don't know these things until you either watch the full event
Right.
or watch the box score. And so what I think what's happening is the people who make decisions within track and field don't understand that. They only see the money side, right?
Mm.
And the money side is, okay, we got to pay for 3 hours of film of people to sit in these chairs, right? Which it makes logical sense. However, when we ask them and say, hey, can you record the field events? They think, let me hire a commentator, a professional that can talk about the details and the backstory and get articles written. It's too much. You're right. It is too much. But what's not too much is just put up a camera and leave it
Yes.
alone. Just put a camera up and leave it alone. Don't
Yeah.
just let it run because there are people that want to see the camera just rolling. Just
Yeah.
let it roll and we'll figure out what's happening,
Right.
right? Or you have the live stats, as they go. Leave the camera there. You don't need commentators. You don't need anything else. You don't need even person manning the camera. Just let it go. And that will be something that we will enjoy for those who are like track and field head people.
Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of the European meets. Sometimes I'll just find meets online and I just sit there and watch it. And it's literally just a camera that's just on. And you can see the bar being put down, picked up. Like, I'd rather see all that than a recap that takes 2 minutes
Right.
on social media. I'd
Absolutely.
rather watch the 1 hour situation. Or maybe somebody will say, let's use AI to cut down the gaps and it just shows all the jumps. I'd rather watch that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that would be wonderful if I could find that app to do all the stuff that is in my head for taking film, right? Videos and crunching
Hmm.
it down and saying, look at this angle because I see them. And then it's like I can spend an hour doing something on my laptop and I get 2 minutes of content because it's too hard. It's like
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep as I'm doing it. So we're getting back to the entrepreneurship you're talking about and not having another job. But
Yeah.
the it's funny that you say that because I love the one camera angle thing, and then my brain has always been with the high jump. I'm like, okay, these are the camera angles that I really need. I need
Hmm.
straight down the bar, a little bit over here.
Yep.
I would love to have a straight overhead top shot looking down so I
Hmm.
can see the shape of the curve. And those
Hmm.
kinds of things are lost in nuances. I would love to have a force plate underneath the ground. I don't even know how you
Hmm.
pull that off. Um,
Yeah.
when I was at Cal State Long Beach, one of the professors there, Professor Garhammer, John Garhammer, he got force plates put under the lifts at the 84 games. I don't know how
Mm,
he pulled that off. They have data that they've used from that, showing ground reaction forces and
mm,
all that kind of stuff. So it would be great to be able to see, how long someone spends from heel strike to toe off in the high jump
yep.
and how much force they were putting on the ground, right? And then
Yeah.
have some ways to measure speed, like put a little chip in
Yep.
somebody's uniform, right? They have the technology. I know they have
Yeah.
it.
They
And
have that. Yep.
you can see whether they're accelerating and not, right? What the pattern was from step to step, the whole thing. So there's a ton of stuff that could be done.
Hmm.
I think it'd be fun to try to market it the way that what's a fun thing that everybody watches on TV, like American Ninja, right?
Hmm.
Running up the wall. And I mean, they have that stuff down. They move those from city to city,
Yep.
it up. It's a huge gig. They get all these people in there. They have the stories like you talked about. They got their regular
Yep.
guys, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's he's a former truck driver from Seattle,
Hmm.
and he's this and he's that, but he used to be an acrobat, and you go and you're
Yeah.
showing the guy, and he's an amazing athlete, and they do this thing, it's like boom, but I think it's both what live and cut up. They work in other stuff. It's pretty amazing. So
Yeah.
it's work, like I said, and football. Look at football, soccer, anything that has multiple cameras. Like we could have all this camera set up, but for me, if you have a live guy, you need a guy that's like the guy in the truck on a Monday night game. Going, okay, go
Hmm.
sit, go camera three, cut camera
Yeah.
four, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, get to the booth. Troy's got something he's got to say. Okay, get back out
Yeah.
of the booth. Okay, we're done with that. We don't want to see Joe Buck's beard right now. So let's go to right. And they're bouncing.
Yep.
And it's boom, boom, boom. Because again, we're Americans and we got our cell phones, and now everybody's like 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, just keep it moving,
Yep.
But there's so much to watch at a track and
Yeah.
field game because we can't set it all to a schedule. And yeah, the running events do that, but the rest of it is that ongoing drama. But if
Yeah.
you had somebody that could orchestrate the madness, then you could
Yeah.
stay on top of everything maybe. So yeah, a lot of problems, a lot of logistical problems, but such a
Yeah.
wealth of stuff. Like you're saying, I mean,
Yeah.
if you and I would be interested in just watching the camera feed, go back
Yeah.
and set
Yep.
the AI, like you say, and just hey, cut out all the dead space,
Yep.
crunch it down and just run the run the film.
Yeah. I feel somebody will like the technology is moving so fast now. I mean, it's even faster than before. I think
Mhm.
we'll have that type of thing. I mean, when I was competing, I just had like my little camera and I just set it up for the hour and I would just jump for the hour,
Right,
back and forth, jump and jump. But then I had to go back and sit down and
right,
chop up every single one. I did it because I was trying to get better. But
right,
I mean, but I'm sure the AI now can like figure out what's no movement and what is movement. We have those motion sensors now for lights, all those things. So yeah, it's possible. Hopefully somebody watching this will say, you know what, I have that idea,
right.
and make it. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like you said too, because there is the brand money, right? But again, it's the game is you got to be seen, right? So you're building
mhm.
your brand through Instagram, through TikTok, through YouTube,
Yep.
all these other things. But again, most people, unless they're invested in those and watching those, and are also athletes, because there's people that watch cat videos all day long, and there's people that watch politics or whatever.
Hmm.
So you get your athlete side, okay, but again, and here in California, oh my gosh, talk about a wealth of choices, for your entertainment
Hmm.
time and dollar.
Yep.
We're just inundated with choices every
Yeah.
time you want to go. I can go. I can watch UCLA women's basketball, and I find it enjoyable because they're
Hmm.
good. And I'm like my wife
Yeah.
sit down and go. We both went to UCLA. Watch some good basketball. So I can watch
Yep.
that. I can go to the football game. I can go to USC. I can go to the Dodgers. I can go Lakers. It's like the competition is huge, and that's just one state.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a daunting task on that front as far as getting. I keep thinking you probably went. I was going to go and I didn't go. Did you? You went to Eugene, I'm sure, for the championships. I heard it
Yep.
was crazy because they were charging so much that the stands were like half to quarter full. Like, how do we pack the stands?
So this is what I've because I go to Oregon 2 to 3 times a year, like for all the championships.
Right.
And so what I've noticed is they built this beautiful facility. It's amazing. The people who went to the meets were the boomers. They were the ones who understood track and field. The problem now is the boomers are aging out to
Yeah.
where they can't just show up to the meets. They're going to watch still, they're going to watch on TV, but they can't be the noise. They can't be the energy that they were
Right.
before, you know? And so they built this beautiful stadium in anticipation to say, we're going to capture the newer age of athletes. But like you said, you can go anywhere. Like you don't have to go to the meets anymore. You can watch it on your phone and get a
Right.
better experience, you know? So when I went, this was for well, first for the youth nationals a few years back. Um, the first time they had it, it was packed because every child brings 3, 4 people because it's the mom, the dad, it's the uncle, it's the
Right.
grandma that come. But when it comes to the professional events, you have way less athletes competing compared to the youth, right? Then you also have people who aren't coming because they don't need to because they can watch it on TV,
Yep.
right? So I was sitting there and everyone that was in the stands was behind me because I'm in the coach's box, but it's just they're in the shade side. The other side was empty. And so they said they were around, I think, closer to 36,000 for attendance, but that was over the 4 days,
Right.
which
9,000 a
means
day.
it
Yeah.
correct. So that's a very, very low number. And it's like, how are you a pro athlete signing autographs? You're on TV or whatnot, and you look in the stands and it's empty,
Yep.
you know. And that's where it's like we've got to start to look at where the hub of track and field is. Like when I went to nationals competing, I went to Iowa to Drake Stadium, Drake
You get
University,
it. Yeah.
and the stadium then was half full. However, 19,000 people were there just for that one day.
Right.
There were not 19,000 at Oregon. It was 19,000 over a few days, I think 2 days to make that
Right.
number. So we're I think if we were to look at like where are the people? How do we make this more um, more inviting? You know, um, and then yeah, they did charge a lot more, but it makes sense when you put a Ferrari in the middle of a city,
Right.
like it just costs more. If the tire goes out, Ferrari tires cost more than a regular tire.
Right.
So it costs me more for the trials to go fly out there to be a staff and support and coaching than it did for me to stay there for the week when I stayed there for 8 days for the youth nationals.
Right.
Which it makes sense. It should be that way, but it's just like it's hard for people to fly into Eugene, which it's a beautiful city, beautiful place, but it's a very small airport. So you have to have premium dollar to get into that smaller
Yep.
airport. So now if you fly into Seattle, it's easier, but you got to drive 3 hours, 4 hours just to get to Eugene. So I just think that it's a tough situation because Eugene is supposed to be the hub and they're doing the things that they need to make sure that track stays alive. However, I think it's just hard to get to. And it's just layer on layer of
Yeah.
challenges that the user is experiencing. We're having these challenges, you know, and that just makes it harder for everyone, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying move it out of Eugene, but I think if we were to spread the track meets around more. So like this year, USATF put out their calendar of the tour. However, the tour is the meets we've already had. We already had the meet in Miramar. We already have the meet in Oregon, but it's like we need more of those meets. We need more high profile meets. And why not have it to where there's a high profile meet in Virginia that's heavy sprinters? Why not have a heavy jumper meet that's in Texas?
Right.
Instead of having the whole thing, we can have different sections. So now that elite long jump group can move
Right.
together. That elite high jump group on the
Right.
guy side can move together. So now
Right.
you're getting a showcase niche event
Yeah.
while you have the other stuff. So now you can sell that, you know, but also putting the money into the athletes.
Yeah.
USATF should be paying the athletes more
Yes.
because what that'll do for them is it'll allow them to build their brand, right? Because think about it, if we name some names, we're gonna have a hard time recognizing who they are unless it's Tara Davis, Sydney.
Right,
Like those names are household names, but there are other names that deserve to be that aren't getting it because they haven't hit those standards yet.
right,
But it's like we like them because they're funny or they're charismatic,
right,
but we don't know that because, that's why I say it starts with you. You got to build your brand. If you like playing video games, great, go train, put out a big mark, big high jump, and then go stream and play a video game. So now
right,
more people know you as a streamer, and now when you jump, you're the streamer that happens to high jump.
right,
And now you're bringing your audience to the meets, and that's where the thing goes. If we knew more about it, if we had um, more athletes mic'd up, if we had specific sponsors say, here's a mic, we're going to have one guy that we hire follow you through your whole journey. And
yeah,
that be a documentary, or we're just going to follow you. So now, what if we're a viewer and we can watch Keinan Briggs warming up behind the
right,
scenes? We can
right,
watch him on the runway. We can watch him trash talk, the next athlete that's there. We
right,
want to hear that conversation, but we don't. All
right.
we see is one jump. That was his great one, and that's it.
Yep, yep.
You know?
There's no vision. We need a visionary like yourself, or someone that, like I said, the guy that can run the truck, or the guy that, you know, you mentioned so many things. The USATF is not my favorite. So they're just, it seems to me, they're the vultures that come down and say, we're going to take our cut, no matter what that is. And it's short-sighted, right? Like you're
Mhm.
saying, what is the product? Are people into the USATF, or are they into track and field? Are they into the American
Mhm.
athletes, right? And we've got, still this amazing amount of athleticism that we could quite rightfully say many times we still have the best athletes in the world. If we were going to compete, you say, well, how do you know? I said, well, go get me a basketball player. Give me a basketball
Mhm.
guy who can touch the top of the backboard, and let's see who can jump over this bar.
Mhm.
Or
Bless you.
thank you. We'll come and do what you do. I have my high jumper come and 360 dunk, as well as you can,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
or your what was this guy Metcalf, for
Yeah.
state, really fast, right? Made it to the trials, but didn't make the team. We've got guys that are faster. We've got guys that do this. We've got guys that are stronger. I've told many stories on here about my shot put, teammates when
Mhm.
I was at UCLA that were trying to destroy the pins in the bowling alley by throwing the ball so hard. Or, watching a huge person move at unbelievable speeds was eye-opening
Yep.
for me, and it's like these athletes are amazing. So that we really
Mhm.
should be able to package it up in a way. I like your ideas, the mic'd up. I tried doing a live stream at CIF prelims and finals last year just on Instagram, just
Mhm.
here I am, so everybody can watch. And I don't know how,
Yeah.
I didn't even track it,
Mhm.
but it was like it's still spotty because I'm standing outside the circle. I get so annoyed with the whole thing. I'm just like,
Mhm.
first of all, and I love pole vaulters. I think they're awesome. And now they've determined that it would be great for the pole vaulters if they can all go down there. So the pole vault community is amazing, right? So you've got
Mhm.
all these guys, they're competing, but their coaches get to be right there and they can watch video. We
Yep.
were farther along a few years back. I remember going to Arcadia in 2019. They let me onto the field. I had three different athletes there in the big show, and I was able to video them. And as long as I wasn't in anybody's way, I could actually analyze their video with them and say, we need to move out 2 inches. You need to get your knee up more, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And then this year, it was like, no, you're a pariah, man. You're an outcast. You can't get anywhere near the field anymore, And I'm just like,
Mhm.
what is that about? The pole vault guys get to be out there. We should be able.
Yep.
I don't, and I know you've gone through that at huge meets where you're just like, you still are, how do you get anywhere close to your brother to say, hey, start talking,
Yep.
right? You've got your own special sign language. It's like they used to, bag on Serena Williams for talking to her coach during the match. She's like, I'm not talking to my coach during the match. Now they just finally legalized it, like you said, because I'm more interested in that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we be interested in having the athletes perform really, really well? It's like you get there, and I've had this experience here in high school in Southern California. These coaches that are just like, they show up to the meet and they go sit up at the top of the stands by
Yep.
themselves. I'm like, who are you? Are you just a spectator? You're just going to sit up there and collect and have the kids come talk to you every once in a while? I was like, I'm going down where the action is. I'm going to go down
Yeah.
my jumpers, So I would be down there and you get people yelling, you can't coach your kids. I'm like, why not? This is the biggest meet of the year. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't I coach my kid?
Hmm.
I'm just going to sit there. And I came from a football background. Football, you coach the heck out of everything. It's like,
Yep. Every single
you
play is dictated.
every single play, every player, every job, it's just like and you want to see a football organization, it's like, okay, you got a wide receivers coach, you got a running back coach, you got a tight ends coach, you got a line coach, you got a quarterback coach, you got an offensive coordinator, right? You got a run. The Niners used to have a running game coordinator, and
Hmm.
you're like going through this whole stuff. And it's like, okay, that's 8 guys just on the offensive side, and that's not even covering special teams yet. You got
Hmm.
defense, it's crazy, right? It's micromanaged to the and here they're like, oh no, you're supposed to coach them up during the week and just let them, flail around on
Yeah.
and yeah, at the higher levels they know more and they're going to probably do pretty well without you. But it's like, no, what about that interplay? Like I want to hear you
Yeah.
talking to your brother mic'd up. What did you tell
Yeah.
him before he went, right? Before this big
Hmm.
that would be exciting. So
Yeah.
we got a wealth of opportunities out there, but we need to get somebody out there that's like you said is more big picture. And then I'm sorry, but Keenan, if I look at my phone right now, if I open this up and I go, because I've done this before, and I go
Hmm.
right now, I'm looking at my phone, ESPN app, NFL, NC2A, NCAA men's basketball, women's basketball, PGA Tour, Olympics. Okay, we might try that for track and field, MLB, NBA, all sports, NHL, WNBA, WWE, golf, women's volleyball, National Lacrosse League. Who knows what that is? I have no idea. English Premier League, Spanish La Liga, German Bundesliga. I'm going down. Top soccer, sports betting. Where's track and field? It's not on here. Okay.
Hmm.
Get down to more sports. So we could try two different ones, maybe. Olympics. Here we go. 2024 Olympics, all sports. Okay. Well, that was 2 years ago. It's showing me results from 2 years ago. Okay. That's great. What
Hmm.
about other sports, more sports? Golf, PGA Tour, golf, TGL, tennis. I, where's track and field?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what we're fighting.
Yeah. We have a we have a perfect example right now with women's basketball with
Hmm.
WNBA.
Yeah.
And they're saying, no, we're not going to do what the men did. Like the men's basketball league is doing the whatever they do, how they do it. The women's, I feel, are doing things in the right way to build their brand and build their value.
Right.
Of course, you can debate that back and forth about money coming in, all those things, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the products, you don't have a service,
Yeah.
you know. And I think I read that there was a lot of money going into women's basketball to allow them to have what they have that allows them to kind of build.
Right.
Um, but either way, there's still a value. Like none of that works without the athletes. And
Right.
I think we're in the same boat with track and field. Like we're not highlighting the athlete, the actual product. When you highlight the product, then let the product sell itself,
Right.
because there's more energy in high school track and field than college outside of the national rankings, national
Right.
levels. You got families that show up to CIFs, they show up to dual meets, invitationals that are deep with their families, that are
Right.
cheering loud, that want because they love their kids and they want to see their kids perform.
Right.
You go up higher, there's less people that know who's on the track.
Sure.
It's literally inverted, right?
Yeah.
And what your point about like not being able to have access to coach the athletes and all these things, it's 100% backwards. If there was an institution that would pay the coaches or programs that always have high level talent, just
Right.
how right now with Coach JP over at Bullis, they're sponsored by New Balance, that whole
Right.
team. I don't know if he's getting paid by New Balance or not. However, I know that he has resources that most coaches don't have.
Right.
And he built that program as a business. And then the business said, we're going to invest in you to do more of what you're doing. We need more investors, more resources to go down to the youth level.
Yes.
Because if it goes down to the youth level, now you have an athlete that has potential that can safely get to that college level to then build the college level there or go pro,
Right.
But we don't have that. They have to figure out how to get to college. They got to be the 1% of athletes to get to a big name Power Four school, to
Yes.
then hopefully be in front of a coach that can develop him or her to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And, I know for a fact there's a million kids that run track every year. 1% are able to compete in the high level D1.
Yeah.
And then you think about it. Yes, yes, I agree with you with the genetic pool. We have more diversity, more range of athletes here on all levels.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it, most Americans aren't winning NCAAs.
Nope. Yeah.
So now you have this challenge of it's not the coach's fault because the coaches are put in a position by NCAA to keep the business high. And
Right.
so if you're a coach and you have a 2-year contract, you have to recruit an athlete that can come in, who is a turnkey athlete that can perform right now. So as a
Yeah.
senior or junior in high school, they have to beat seniors in college with their marks to get to the team,
Yeah.
right? So you're in a 5-year gap already,
Yep.
right? And so that's already one challenge. But those athletes are either freak athletes, the generational athletes, or highly coached at a very high level.
Right.
If they're highly coached at a very high level, they get to this college level, and now there's a downgrade in the coaching for
Yeah.
most in many
Well,
situations.
you're preaching to the choir. We both know this because you can be a high
Yeah.
coach where we are, and then the kids go off, and I've had kids that go off to wherever, and nothing happens because they're not being coached
Mhm.
at a high level.
Correct.
Then,
And it's because of that imposed pressure up top that says you got to perform. We need you to have 3 conference scores next year. So
yeah.
it's like I'd rather just instead of getting the athlete that jumps 3 feet less than what they should, but they can jump 5 feet better, I need the person who's already good and either maxed out with the performance or they don't know what they're doing and they just jump. So
Right.
it's a tough like balance that's happening back and forth. And so that's why, like I tell the athletes, first, let's get you technically sound in your event so that you can be recruited anywhere
Yeah.
based off of your ability and also get accepted anywhere based on who you are as a person. And then we can figure out what's the best fit there
Right.
and then go. Because I think in your era, I'm guessing you had to go to college to go pro. Not physically, but the coaching, the knowledge was at the college level.
Yeah.
And now like you have high school coaches that do have knowledge, and the ones that do have to go up because they want to coach more. So
Right.
now they're removing themselves from the million kids every year to the 1% of kids that
Yeah.
make it out of high school that perform because they are getting paid more. And you see it now, the coaches aren't just doing long and triple jump, they're doing multis. So
Right.
now they're trying to do all the events, which is even harder on the coaches. So now they're tired.
And
They're,
then,
you
I
know,
mean,
now but there's just so many layers to it. It's just,
you can't get paid still. I mean, I went and interviewed for a job at Cal State Long Beach 3 years ago, and they wanted me to do the multis, high, long, triple, the whole thing for $25,000. And I go,
yeah,
you're kidding, you know?
no,
It's just
you
silly.
you can't,
You
you,
can't
you
you can't live on that. Not in California. You
no,
can't. Very few states could you do that. But I mean, unless you're going to go to a Big Ten school or maybe the SEC,
25,000. That's tough.
how are you going to get any money even there? You go there, were they going to get you in six figures now? If you can get up into six
Yeah,
figures, okay, you know, but that's still small potatoes compared to football, basketball, and
yep,
everything else, right? Where you can make,
yeah.
offensive coordinators can make over millions of dollars and head coaches can make 8, $9 million. So yeah, it's daunting. The one last thing, I know we're running long, so I'll let you go, but
There you go.
uh,
Yeah.
the thing that I find that's missing too, what you mentioned before, the NBA does a good job most of the time of promoting athletes, and there's some natural rivalries that are always going to be there, the Lakers, Celtics, right? New York, Chicago, or pick your rivalry, but most of the time in the NBA, it's about the athletes. In the NFL, it's teams. Teams. Team loyalty runs deep. I've been a Niner fan since birth. I mean, I watch the Niners play even when they're crappy, but it's like
Mhm.
you've got teams. Baseball is team. There's still teams that if you said who played third base for the Yankees this year, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even
Mhm.
watch the Yankees play till they got to the playoffs. I couldn't tell you.
Mhm.
I used to be able to do that. I don't know it anymore. But it's like the thing that we're missing from track and field, the thing that I enjoyed as a kid is dual meet. like even I don't know if it was 20 or 30 years ago, they used to come up with a USA versus Russia
Oh
duel,
yeah.
right? Where
Hmm.
you would put together a dual meet team and use the old dual meet rules. You get three of your
Hmm.
guys, we get three of our guys. I remember going up to Oregon to that old bandbox that they used to have, Hayward Field, right?
Yep.
Same place,
Yep.
just not Nike money flowing through. They're
It
just
was,
old wooden stands.
yep, a lot of wood.
But they packed the stands with all those crazy people from Oregon because they loved their track and field, and it was loud and it was awesome.
Yep.
But it was like they're introducing us, and it's cold in April, and it actually started snowing my freshman year. The guy literally goes, yeah, the men's high jump's getting ready to go off, and he's like, and here's Del Davis from UCLA, he just jumped 7.7 last year, and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, is that snow? And the crowd goes really quiet, and he's like, next call for the men's giant
Yeah.
slalom, and everybody starts laughing. But I'm like, I miss
Yeah.
I miss UCLA versus Oregon dual meets. We went up there my first 3 years. You know,
Yeah.
that's we kind of need maybe in some ways the team thing, like you're saying. I mean, I hate to copy the model, but it's like, hey, can you come up with a league and your idea of, maybe it is sprint leagues and jump leagues, and maybe we get them all back together at the end somehow. I think that's pretty
Yep.
creative. I know I've been attracted seeing some of those meets like you're talking about where they're over in Italy and it looks like they're jumping next to a mall, and they just put
Yep.
out this area, right, with a bar and all that.
Yeah.
And you've got small little stands there in the corner, but it looks like a big event and it's crowded at least, there's not like
Hmm.
20 people watching. So yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement here. I think we've got our work cut out for us here in these 3 years before
Yeah.
2028, right? Well, hey, Keenan, it's been a long time, man. It was good to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you making time at the end of your busy workday. I know
Yeah.
you do a lot of stuff like you're outlining for us. God bless you, young sir. I just love
Thank
what
you.
you're doing with your kids. I know you put your heart and soul into it, and continued blessings. I There's another part of me when we got to do this another time. I'm really interested. There's the what's going on, physical world, making money and all that. And then, man, spiritual, political over here in the US right now is crazy. Like
Hmm.
this country that we live in is like a powder keg sometimes. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I love athletics because it seems that some of the athletes can kind of transcend some of the
Yeah.
other stuff that's going on, and can get into the spiritual and represent spiritually without getting crushed for it. I loved watching CJ Stroud
Yeah.
last week go off and talk about the Lord, for just a couple minutes, and you
Yep.
could see the announcer sitting there holding the mic going, like, can we cut away from this? Like, no, you got him. You got CJ on the hook, man.
Yep.
He's just going to keep telling you about the Lord. So
Yep.
I love it when it comes up, and it seems like there's a real big opportunity, but yeah, it's crazy right now. But we'll have to leave that as a topic for another time. But
Yeah, of course.
hey, I appreciate you and have good luck out there. I appreciate the. I was just a quick aside. The guy that you sent to call me the other day. I had one
Yeah.
from Elisa Nagel. Yeah, so
Hmm.
appreciate that. And yeah, I
Of course.
every once in a while, if I ever do get anybody that says I would need long and triple from you, I'm always like, I can't. I need a couple more hats, so they're
Yeah.
gonna come your way. I appreciate you looking out for me. And
Yeah, of
tell us
course.
again real quick before you sign off, so we get it on both ends of the podcast about the upcoming events for your guys and even a little bit more for since we got to help so many of these burgeoning young fans. How do they get there? How do they pay for it and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, leapfestshowcase.com is the site. It has information about the events, things like that. And then registration is also on there. The event is January 3rd at Mater Dei High School. You must pre-register. There's no walk-up, so you got to do that ahead of time. The deadline, I believe, is coming up pretty soon to register for that event. It's a fun, festive event. You get clothes, you get shirts. There's vendors. VS Athletics is there. It's a great way to buy all your needs for track and field because event specific spikes are usually you got to buy online, but they'll be in person there at the
Nice.
event. Um, Coaches, all those things. And my club team is Leap Squad Track Club, so leapsquadtrackclub.com. And I have all resources when it comes down to college recruiting, video breakdowns, virtual teams, mentality pieces, all those things is inside of the Leap Squad Academy. So leapsquadacademy.com also.
Awesome. All right. Well done. Well encapsulated and awesome. We will be keeping in touch there. I'm going to try to bring a good, what do you call it? Is it cadre or cater? See,
Yeah.
a group. Yes. Platoon. How's about I'll bring a
There we
platoon
go.
of high jumpers over and we'll have some fun over there. Oh,
Yeah.
as a quick aside, I do have to pimp for you even more. The last time that I was there, it really is a show. Like we were talking about, you've got your guy on the mic and
Yeah.
starts, telling everybody about, what's going on and I love the way you get the families and the young kids. I mean, you got what?
Mhm.
How young have we gone? 4, 5, and moving
Man, I
real
think
small.
5 has been the youngest.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
but it's awesome. Yeah, and like you said, the family's all bought in, and there is the added benefit of again not the distraction of all the running events going on, so it's more focused. So it's a
Hmm.
blast. All right. Well, hey, Keenan, appreciate you. Let's talk soon, man. Keep up the good
Yes,
work.
of course.
All
Thank you so
right.
much, and great job with what you're doing as well.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. We'll talk
Yes.
soon.
See you
All
soon.
right. All right, and that's going to wrap it up here on another episode of Raise the Bar. We just talked with Keinan Briggs, the main driving powerful force behind Leap Squad, leapacademy.com, the Leap Fest, which is coming up here in January, here locally at Mater Dei High School. You heard Keenan give you the information there. You can listen to that again. I already forgot it because I'm getting old. My brain doesn't work anymore. So, but it is coming up. You can look for it online. All those names are there. And we are pushing ahead here on Raise the Bar with some other podcasts that are still in the tin and getting produced. We are constantly doing video analysis of athletes. We are training young high jumpers, long jumpers, and triple jumpers. We are working with pole vaulters sometimes. It's but I am pretty much a one-man show. I haven't developed a team the way that Keenan has. And we are usually bumping into each other at big events and things like that. And we've had Keenan on the show many times, and he's always gracious with his time. And he's got a lot of vision and has done a lot of work as a young entrepreneur. And just excited to see what happens here. It is a good time at Leap Fest. Like I said, it's some of the things that we were talking about in promoting track and field with less emphasis on the sprints, which no offense to the sprints, they're always fun to watch. And I would like to see the whole package, done, but it seems to me like the jumps are usually neglected. And that's where Keenan and I are both coming from. So it's fun to see this event where, the three long, high, and triple jumps and the pole vault are emphasized and glorified a little bit. And speaking of glorifying, just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas if I don't get to another podcast here very soon. Remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. And just excited. We celebrate our Savior's birth this time of the year. And that's one of my pet peeves is the whole happy holidays thing. I always like to remind everybody that Christmas is coming and that Jesus came down to this earth. And yeah, we've got Christmas before we get to Easter, which celebrates his death and resurrection. So until next time, here on Raise the Bar, my name's Troy Haynes, and we are going to say good night and until next time.